It is 2 a.m. A solitary figure sits bathed in the rapid, harsh flickering of artificial blue light, endlessly scrolling through algorithmic feeds in a desperate search for belonging. This is the modern archetype of the hungry ghost. In the year 2026, humanity stands amid the rubble of every inherited story that once gave shape to time and death. Traditional community structures have fractured, and organized religions have collapsed into cultural debris. We try to patch this vast emptiness with self-help literature, rigid new ideologies, and abstract philosophical debates. These intellectual tools fail because the crisis is physiological. It is a malfunction of the machine itself. AI acts as a perfect mirror, reflecting our internal, fragmented incoherence back to us at light speed. We outsource our storytelling to machines because our internal capacity for narrative generation has broken down. The loss of meaning is actually a chronobiological collapse. It is a physical, hardware-level failure of the human organism occurring at the exact same time as our cultural crash. This text, titled The Shattering of Ancient Narratives, provides a precise cosmological diagnosis of this dual collapse. It argues that the meaning crisis is a biological failure first. You cannot successfully install new cultural software onto shattered biological hardware. The physical epicenter of human meaning lies within the brain. Specifically, it resides in the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny region of the hypothalamus that acts as your master biological clock, and the pineal gland. A constant dopamine siege and endless bombardment of artificial blue light have physically severed these internal clocks from the Earth's natural solar rotation. The late-night doomscroller is a physiological reality, a human whose suprachiasmatic nucleus is colonized, giving spiritual emptiness a precise pineal address. Profound cultural isolation is actually a diagnosable illness driven by light exposure disorder. Ancient myths were originally mapped to the physical movement of the sun. For millennia, human narratives were inseparable from the direct biological experience of the solar cycle. When we retreated into climate-controlled rooms and replaced the sun with screens, that biological connection snapped. The old gods died because the human organism stopped experiencing the specific solar rhythms that once made those stories feel true in the body. The book states a merciless rule. Religion without rhythm becomes ideology. Ideology without rhythm becomes addiction. It also outlines the core law. The myth is the software. The clock genes are the hardware. Both require biological obedience, or the system crashes. A society functioning with disrupted, population-level circadian rhythms is biologically incapable of producing a coherent culture. To repair this, we look at the text's 30-day program. It begins with biological grounding. You cannot think your way out of a rhythm problem. The protocol demands strict prescriptions, 10 minutes of sunrise exposure at dawn, and an absolute ban on artificial light after civil twilight. At solar noon, it requires specific breathing and visualization practices designed to physically reignite what it calls the inner sun. Restoring this circadian sovereignty is a mandatory, non-negotiable foundation. You have to fix the biological hardware before you can integrate any new meaning. Once the rhythm is established, the narrative cleansing begins. This means a complete fast from algorithmically curated content and directly naming the exact dopamine hijackers operating in your system. The ultimate battlefield ritual is remarkably physical, speaking one true sentence about your life out loud to another living human beside an actual fire. In its final takeaways, the author issues a stark warning. Any new myth we create must be circadian native, or it will die in 6 months. A human being who restores their own mythic depth stops asking the AI mirror what they are. The true fire tender does not fear a reflection. They only fear mistaking the reflection for the flame. Step away from the artificial mirror and reclaim the biological rhythm of the sun. Reconnecting with that physical foundation allows a coherent story to take root, and true coherence is contagious.